SMT Nation, we back. Nation, there's a kind of a big update at T-Mobile. I want to give you guys that news and get you guys up to speed on the things that are happening there and what this might possibly mean for the T-Mobile customer, for the network, and for the competitive landscape in the wireless industry. I will go ahead and link this announcement from CEO of T-Mobile, Mike Sievert. It's from his Twitter account. So I'll link it. It'll be in the description. Also in the description, the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. If you want to support your creators directly, that's one way you could do it. You can also check out our partner link for mmWave. Get a great deal on wireless service and use it, and you'll be helping out the channel in the process. All right, so the announcement here is from T-Mobile, who has officially announced Ulf Ewaldson, the new president of technology, and now John Saw, chief technical or technology officer, I suppose. They will be replacing, I guess jointly, replacing Neville Ray and Abdul Saad for these two leadership positions. The two veterans at T-Mobile in this case being Neville Ray and Abdul Saad, they've been with T-Mobile for years, right? Serving there for well over a decade, I suppose. I know Neville goes back to the voice stream days, I think. I'm not sure about the other guy, but they have been with T-Mobile for several years. And, you know, it just seems like the natural evolution. They've put in their time, they've put in many years, and they've gotten T-Mobile to this point. Now we have their replacements, those that will take the helm of those positions. And I think this is a good indication of T-Mobile moving in the right direction for the network. I don't really see this being an issue, probably not a game changer, but I will say that specifically with the utilization of Dr. John Saw, I see it as specifically a very good move. John Saw is a former Sprint executive with respect to the network, right? So like head or lead engineer, chief technology officer, I believe as well. Maybe kind of the same thing that Neville was doing as the president of technology. So I think it's basically that role. But he kind of was the founding father of, some things that we talked about yesterday on the podcast. Carlos Estek mentioned, massive MIMO as being part of his part of the development of that technology. Really pushing for densification in higher frequencies at a time when every carrier was just focused on getting more low band, right, and building out coverage. He was really of the belief in order to make your network resilient, it had to be dense, right? Lots of cell splits and, having a lot of redundancy and overlap with your network, especially in the urban setting. So, really, I think the networking principles are there and a philosophy, and plus a spectrum asset with the 5G UC, the N41 is from the Sprint T-Mobile merger, right? And he was at Sprint for many years. So it's a natural fulfillment of the position, and it makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people, from within the cellular network tech enthusiast community are very thrilled to see him as being the head of, the network project, if we can refer to it as that. Now, he's got much more assets than he previously had at Sprint. Dr. John Saw was dealing with a CapEx that was lowest in the industry, and by a far margin. So, at a time where they were spending, I think one year they peaked at like $8 billion, and then after that it was like half of that, like $3-4 billion. So they were going to get chewed up and spit out by their competitors, and AT&T, Verizon, and even T-Mobile, right, who was spending probably closer to like $8 billion. And now, with I think a little bit more money, looking at the CapEx hovering between 9 and 10 billion, he has more money to work with. And don't forget that the base foundation of the network has been built. There's probably more densification. There's probably more cells that need to be built and assembled and upgraded with some Sprint keeps that probably still remain residual from the last few years. And I think the next step moving forward is going to be specific execution within regions and markets where it's really about the small cell deployment. So the additional cell splits, the small cell, the CRAN, And I think also there's probably some virtualization that's going to go on there. I think Dr. John Saw probably can really execute that. He's going to have a higher CapEx compared to what he had at Sprint, although he still is going to have the lowest CapEx in the industry. So he has not been able to avoid that. That's still, their CapEx still trails that of Verizon at T-Mobile, and their CapEx still trails that of AT&T by a far margin, right? AT&T still well over 20-some billion dollars. Verizon, 17, 18, 19 billion dollars. If you count the dedicated C-band build, it takes you over 20 billion annually over the last few years. So it's still that situation, but he obviously does get more resources and does get a better budget compared to what he had at Sprint. And I think this is the natural move to go with John Saw for this. And I know the Sprint engineers, always spoke glowingly of him. He's well respected within the industry. I don't know anything about the Ulf dude, honestly, but Neville had his time. I don't know how much he was doing in the last couple of years. But now you've got, I think, the right replacements. But what do you guys think? What's your take on it? What do you see as the upside? How do you think these two new individuals do in replacing their predecessors? Love to hear what you have to say on this. You all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, subscribe for more. Turn on the bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links in the description for all things going on with the channel. Become a YouTube member. Hit the join button. It's there next to the subscribe. Also, we've got the Patreon if you guys want additional access and perks not found anywhere else. That link is in the description. Don't forget you can support us by buying us a coffee. Link in the description. And the Mint Mobile partner link. You guys can save money on your wireless and help out the channel in the process. Link in the description. Thanks for watching, folks. We shall see you all in the next one. Peace.